Life is a disease and the only cure is rock and roll. Coming to you straight from the crowded mind of Stacey Jaye, it's time to settle in and listen to the sounds coming from the Rock Room. Woo!
Yeah.
Okay, so Willie, you just released another album, The Great Yellow Light, in June. Probably one of your best since American Ride. That's in my opinion, but I loved American Ride. Loved this one too. How
Thank you.
many albums have you released in total?
It's 21 in total, 15 studio albums and 6 live albums. 21 in total, but 15, I consider it 15, 15 studio albums. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite ones, or are they all kind of like your kids? You can't pick one.
No, I like them all, but I definitely have favorites. Uh, Beautiful Wreck of the World, Streets of New York, American Ride. I mean, I'm not going in any preference. I'm just going, I mean, I like them all. Places I've never been. Richard Thompson's on that. Roger McGuinn, I love that record. It was on my Columbia record. But if you ask favorites, I'd say, Streets of New York, uh, uh, The Great Yellow Light, the one I just put out,
Mhm.
Day the Earth Stood Still, Children of Paradise. But I like them all, in different, varying degrees. But something about the more recent ones, I really, I think I like my voice better.
Mhm.
I like, I think just it got getting older, the voice aged a little bit, and I think it's better, maybe from New York at Night on. But I love the new one. I'm really happy with it. Great Yellow Light. Yeah, doesn't suck.
So you had told a story at the last show I saw you at about one of your songs, not on this album, but New York at Night, about a guy on the subway.
Yeah,
Would you like to tell my listeners about it? Because it was a very humorous story.
sure. It's a true story. A couple of summers ago, a few summers ago, I went. It was a hot July night, and I went up to near Times Square. There's a club called the Iridium. It was a club that was uh, Les Paul's club, the guy that invented the Telecaster. You
Mhm.
know, no, sorry. What am I saying? The Les Paul guitar. And anyway, I went on a Friday night. It was hot. Went to this show. Came out of the venue about 10:30. I can't remember who I went to see. And there's thousands of people in Times Square, hot night, and I'm walking towards the subway. I go into the subway, go down the stairs, and I get down, and there's a train pulling the station. And the last car, I walk towards it, the doors open up, and I see there's something in the way, in the doorway of the car off to the side. And as I get closer, I realized it was a can of whipped cream, a big can of Ready Whip. And you don't see that. There's not stuff in the doorways.
Right.
But as I got in and stepped in, the guy's shoes who next to it had 2 inches of whipped cream on them, not 1 inch, 2 inches. And I thought, wow, and the whipped cream went up his legs, up to his knees, over his thighs, like all the way up to his thighs.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was just stepping in. It all happened so quickly. I was afraid to turn to look and see what was going on because some dude had just covered himself in whipped cream because that can wouldn't have been there in the previous stop.
Yeah.
It was a fairly crowded car. People are just hanging, standing there like everything's normal. Like there's a guy in the back of the car covered in whipped cream, and I walked in, went to the other end of the car and found a seat, and I couldn't see back, and I just thought, wow, New York at Night, what a scene, and it inspired the song New York at Night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a great song.
right.
When did you first realize that you wanted to be a musician, and how did that come about?
Well, when I was a kid, I initially, I loved classical music. When I was a little boy, like 5. I thought I'd be a classical pianist, like Franz Liszt or Beethoven or somebody. I just loved music, Rachmaninoff. And then, and I grew up, with hearing radio and rock and roll. I loved. And but I didn't think of myself as a musician. I was writing poetry in high school. And in my first year of college, my roommate had a guitar. I was in Ohio for 1 year, and near Canton, Ohio, middle of nowhere. And it was, you would think of it as a lost year because it was, you know, uh, I goofed off in high school. I was smart enough where I didn't have to study and I could get by. So I think I had an 87 average in my senior year, and I was not getting accepted in college, and I wanted to go to college, and it seemed like it would be fun. So I couldn't get in. So I asked my guidance counselor. I said, I'm having trouble getting to college. And he goes, well, there's a new college, a college that built in a brand new dorm, and they need students from, So all these losers, me included, who couldn't get to college, went to this dormitory, and I remember getting dropped off. My older brother and my mom drove me there, dropped me off. I remember as they drove away, watching them drive away, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, thinking, what have I done? And but my roommate, one of my roommates had a guitar and played the guitar. And after a while, I said, well, why don't you teach me? And so I learned to play the guitar. Then the poetry I was writing, I just started turning into songs. So it was that's what happened really, this going to this college, middle of nowhere, which was not on my plan at all, changed the course of my life. You never know, where the road will take you, where you think something might be a fork in the road, might be a bad turn, you know, change the life, my direction, my life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Your album, your new one, has this one I'm holding right here. People can't hear me or can hear me but can't see me. I'm holding up Willie's new album. It's called The Great Yellow Light. What does that mean? It's a great title, but what does that mean?
Thanks, Stacey. The title comes from, for me, it's a reference to joy. I'm sorry, it's a reference to awe and wonder. It was inspired by Vincent Van Gogh's letters to his brother Theo. When Van Gogh moved in 1888 to the south of France, the light there was like so strong and so brilliant. He loved it, really inspired him. He told his brother, he referred to it as the great yellow light. I remember reading his letters, and that really struck me. It stayed with me. And years later, I wrote the song, The Great Yellow Light. The subject of that song is not about Van Gogh at all, but it's about awe and wonder.
Right.
And I thought it would make a really good album title, and I got this great photograph, that.
Yeah, the photograph is fantastic. It's a photograph actually that your wife took in a circus in Italy, correct?
Yeah, it was a small 110 circus in the north of Italy, and
Yeah.
she took her son there, and took a picture. I remember it was taken some years ago. I remember seeing it, and immediately seeing it, I said, that's an album cover. This is an
Yeah.
album cover. She didn't think so, but I did.
Yeah,
that was 2000.
powerful. Yeah.
Thank you, Stacey. That was 2013, and I knew it was an album cover. And this, when I was putting songs together for this album and writing them, and when I knew Great Yellow Light was going to be on it, I knew right away what the cover would be. That photograph, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite covers of it.
Yeah, for people who are listening and not on the video that I'm going to be sharing on YouTube, there's a fire breather on the front, and he is breathing out this big, huge yellow flame, and it's the colors are sepia and red, and it's just his wife, Christina Aragoni, she is an amazing photographer. If you get a chance, look her up also. The first song on this album is called Wild Wild World, and it starts off like a kick-ass surfer song.
Yeah.
It's definitely a wild ride of a song. When you play it at a show, do you get people dancing to it? Have you had a chance to play it?
People move, it's definitely a kick in the ass start, to the album. And I love that. It starts the album off on purpose because it is a wild, wild world, and it's a party song. It's a Saturday night party song, but there's a subtext to it that's deeper,
Mm-hmm.
and because there's a wild world, a lot of stuff going on in the world, and it's a subtle reference to that. And it's a good party song, so it's a good way to start a party. Yeah.
Awesome. One of the songs on the album, An Irish Goodbye, I heard you perform for the first time at a solo show in Grand Rapids, Michigan in April of 2024.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, that was a long time to wait for me to be able to play this song for people. I'm like, you guys have to hear this song. It's amazing. It's beautiful. I was really hoping that this album would be out before March so I could play that on my St. Patty's Day program. But I'm going to play it now, and I'll play it again next St. Patty's Day. But I was sitting near a couple who had never heard your music before. And they were just there because they had season tickets to this music venue because they were patrons. So they got a ticket to every single show, and they decided to come see you. And I assured them that they were going to love the show. And
thank you.
When Irish Goodbye played, it actually brought tears to their eyes. And the woman looked over me and she just kept shaking her head, yes. And afterwards, they told me they'll definitely be watching for you again. And I think you made new friends that night and new fans.
That's sweet. Thank you.
What's the story behind Irish Goodbye?
Well, An Irish Goodbye, to those who don't know about it, is when you leave an event without saying goodbye, you just leave. It's not meant to be an insult in any way. You just head out without, the formalities. But what I wrote about was the big Irish goodbye, mortality, and it's a celebration of life. It's inspired by my daughter. My daughter Mary loves all things Irish. And before I wrote that, she went to Ireland, and was her family that visited her best friend, one of her best friends, and I had a conversation with her. And that night, the phrase just came to mind, An Irish Goodbye, and it stopped me in my tracks. I thought that could be a song title, and I thought, well, what's the chorus? And so right away, I just thought, An Irish Goodbye, an Irish Goodbye. Here's fire in your whiskey, here's mud in your eye. It's high time to leave here. The angels know why. I'll just say an Irish goodbye. And I went, I'm in, and I wrote it, and I love it. Love playing it. I'm really. Sometimes songs just come out, and that just came through me like that. And that, I don't really feel I could take any credit for it. It kind of came through me. Yeah.
Well, when I was lucky enough to go see your birthday show at the Vogel Theater in Red Bank, New Jersey, you played that song. And I looked around the room and around the balcony, and everybody had their hand up and their glass up, and they were all singing along with you. They were singing the chorus along with you, which is fantastic because your music, the album hadn't even come out yet, but they knew the song so well just by listening to the first couple lyrics, or maybe they had gone to a show where you had played it, a couple months before that.
I think it's a case of it's kind of immediately recognizable after by the second chorus. You kind of get it. And a few weeks ago, I got a text message from a friend of mine, and he said that I don't. He said that his father was dying, and he played it for his father. His father loved it, and I thought that's awesome. I thanked him, and about 5 days later, I got another email from him, a text message saying his father passed. Oh. And could I send him the lyrics? He wanted to read them at the memorial. And I felt really, that was really beautiful. It really touched me. And it's a celebration, and when we play it, man, it's party time, and life is a journey. We're all on it, and we make the best of it we can. And it sure throws stuff in our path, that's for sure. And that song is a celebration of all of that, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But there's a lot of awe and wonder in it. So I'm so happy with how it came out.
Yeah, it's a great.
Black 40 is the great Irish punk band Black 47. Larry Kerwin is on it, and Fred Parcells and Chris Byrne play on it. And the legendary Irish iconic singer-songwriter Paul Brady sings a duet with me on it. And James Maddox sings on it, a great songwriter and singer. And David Mansfield plays mandolin. He was in the Rolling Thunder Review. He's a legendary musician. So I had a lot of guests playing on it, and my band kicked butt. Good fun. And Rob Hyman of the Hooters. Rob Hyman and Eric Bazillion of the Hooters, who are dear friends of mine. Rob plays on 6 songs on this album, keyboards, accordion, and Eric Bazillion plays on 2, and they both sing on a song called "Trying to Make a Living in the USA." Anyway, I got a lot of good friends and great musicians that helped me make this. It's a team effort.
Yep. And speaking of trying to make a living in the USA, we know right now the economic, political, and social climate of the US is, shall we say, not easier than it was this time last year. And 2 of the songs on your album, Trying to Make a Living in the USA and Wake Up America, which features Steve Earle, touches on those topics. And I think it's really refreshing when artists tell it like it is and are brave with their beliefs. What made you write those songs?
Well, writing "Trying to Make a Living in the USA," I was just playing the guitar one night, and a couple ideas came to me, and the song just came out. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with me. A hit record wouldn't cure. I was in a good mood. The blue. There's nothing wrong with me. A hit record wouldn't cure the blues and the clap. Yeah, how can we occur? But a song on the charts could do a lot of good. I'd run buck naked through my neighborhood. Ooh ah, ooh ah, ooh ah, yeah. Trying to make a living. It just came to me, and I had fun with it. That kind of song usually comes out pretty quick, and that did. And Steve Earle, who's a neighbor from for 15 years. Steve's great. I love Steve. And he graciously did a duet with me on that. I'm so proud of that. No, sorry, that's on Wake Up America. The Hooters, Rob and Eric sing on Trying to Make a Living. And with Wake Up America, I think I was watching the news. I pay close attention to what's going on. And the country's just so divided. It's such a shame. It doesn't have to be like this, but it is. And when I wrote it, I wasn't trying to take any kind of side, just talking about this great divide between everybody. We're better than this, and I think that the problem is, like, when I put it out as a single 2 years ago for the 2022 election, and we got a lot of feedback. Feedback I've gotten on the song since we put it out here, and this record is like, people on both sides of the aisle, right? Oh yeah, go Willie. It's just that everybody disagrees on what the facts of what's going on are.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes anything about what any of the sides are saying. Person watches this channel, person watches that channel, and my feeling is, if there were a bunch of people at a room at a party, on all sides, red, blue, whatever, yellow, pink. And in another room, there was a couple of mothers and from Somalia or Sudan, and their kids are starving to death. I think that everybody in that party, that house, would do what they could to help. I think it's a case of, there's no Walter Cronkite, there's no main news source where we know what's really going on, and with that kind of chaos, it's hard to know what to do. And there's a lot of really good people on all sides of the aisle, and there's bad actors for sure, but most people are good, and I appeal to that when I play with my music. You've seen my shows, many
Yes.
of them,
Yeah.
and I sing. I try to bring out the good in people. Like let's. I try to sing to the better angels of our nature. To quote Lincoln. I believe in the dream that is this country. It's a great dream. People came here. Remember, immigrants have come here. It's a country of immigrants. There's First Nations people. The original people that were here. That got wiped. Really a bad deal. From all the immigrants that came here. And that's a crime. That's a whole other subject. And the dream about coming here for a better life, making a better life for your family. People come from everywhere: Ireland, Africa, Asia. India, everywhere, Europe. And I think that given the right information, and people would make similar decisions. Like, hey, in the next room, there's a mother and a little child that's like 6 months old. That kid's about to die. Well, I got some stuff in the refrigerator. Can we get it and go help? They'd say, yeah, So Wake Up America is just kind of like a prayer uh, uh, that people can, that the information can be clearer in some way, and that people can find, more kindness and compassion in their hearts for their fellow man. You know, it's not a finger pointing song. It's not a get on a soapbox kind of song, but it definitely deals with what's going on. Like we got to wake up. We
Yep.
can do better. We can do better than this. I guess that's my feeling.
I,
Without taking a side, we can do better than this. You know.
yep.
Anyway.
I definitely agree. Now the last song on the album is Washington's Day, and it's definitely one of the best songs on there. Can you tell me what the inspiration was for that song?
Sure. Thanks for saying that. I agree with you. It is one of the best songs on the album. I signed to Columbia Records in 1988. Okay. A producer friend of mine signed me to the label. And I had just written a new song and I wanted to play it for him. So I called him up. And he said he was in a recording studio at the record plant. I knew he was recording. He was producing the Hooters at the time, Rob and Eric and the band. And he said, come by the studio. That the band wasn't there. He was just with the engineer and they were mixing a song. I got there and I played him a song. He loved it. And he said, come on in. Or maybe I was waiting around for a while to play him, but that's what it was. And he said the song is called Washington's Day, but they have no lyrics for it. It was just a title. Washington's Day, referring to July 4th, Independence Day. I think they just thought that's what they wanted to write it about. So I'm in the back of the room just listening to replay after replay while they're mixing it. And lyrics started coming. It felt like I was listening to Let It Be. It was so beautiful. And I wrote the lyrics, And after a while, I said, I got some lyrics for this, an idea. So, he loved them and they loved him. And so they put the record out. It's around 88, 87. And for all these years, I've been wanting to record it, but it just didn't seem like the right time. And for this album, it seemed like the right time. This album it's not a concept album by any means. It's a collection of songs. There are some themes that run through it, and it has a great flow to it. I love the way it flows. And the last two songs, second last song was Wake Up America. And the very last song is Washington's Day.
Yeah.
The chorus, which is open arms, and I hope and I pray that you'll be here with me when the mountains that rise tumble into the sea, when the kingdoms that come set us free on our way. Hope you'll be here with me home on Washington's Day. It's another prayer. I love it. It's a beautiful piece of music. And Rob and Eric of the Hooters, Rob Hyman, Eric Bazillion played on the track and so beautifully. Eric's guitar playing, and he plays a mandola, which is a little larger than a mandolin, beautifully. And Rob plays piano and organ, and and Johnny Paisano on bass, Jimmy Bones on guitar, and John Weber on drums.
Yeah.
We just did I don't know, 3 takes of it, and boom, there it was. And the vocals live. The vocals, every single song on the record. We record as a band. We all are together at once. And the drummer is in one room. He's so loud, and in the control room is Johnny and on bass and Jimmy Bones on guitar. And I'm in a separate. I was in a hallway playing electric guitar. Well, on this particular, normally I'm playing electric guitar. I didn't play an acoustic on this record. I don't think. No. Anyway, and I'm singing so the band could follow me. But it takes usually 2 or 3 takes. By the second take, we know where we'll go back in and do a third or fourth take. We usually get it. It's pretty much it every time. Yeah. We don't belabor it, and they're all the vocals were when the band cut the song. So there's an energy to it. You kind of capture a live vibe. So yeah, those are live vocals on all the songs, and surprised myself with that. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you kind of took my next question right out of my mouth because I was going to mention the amazing backup band or band that you have backing you with
Yeah.
Jimmy K. Bones on ripping lead guitar and backing vocals, Johnny Paisano on pounding bass and backing vocals, and the hard-hitting drum perfection of John Weber.
Yeah.
They're all amazing.
Great musicians.
Yeah. So now that this new album is out, do you guys have any plans of going back out on tour to promote it anytime soon? Or I know that you've been really busy and
Oh, it's ongoing. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. I just confirmed some shows in Italy. I know that, there's a tour in Spain, 2 weeks in Spain in March. And I mean, between now and then, be a lot of shows. But we just confirmed shows in Spain, and then I'm going from Spain to Italy at the end of March for some shows. And I just came from the South. I was down there doing solo shows in Dallas, Oklahoma City, Kansas City. And I was in. I've been traveling. I've been doing a lot of. I was in Italy for a couple of weeks, and so yeah, absolutely. I love playing live with the band. Anybody who hasn't seen the band, I always say I'll guarantee if you don't have a great time, I'll give you money back. I don't mean if you think it's good or if you
no,
think it's professional. I mean it's
it
great.
is really good. I took my sister. If you've met my sister, she credits you with giving her the courage to get out of the situation that she was in, knowing that
Oh yeah.
she was young enough to really, she didn't have to settle for what she was settling for. And now she's going to be graduating in December with her RN. So
No kidding.
yes. So, and she and her fiance just bought a beautiful house on a lake. It's her
Wow.
dream house. So, I mean, she is completely
Wow.
80 from where she was 6 years ago. And she really does credit you with, kind of getting through to her. So I know that she's told me to thank you before, but I'm thanking you again.
Oh,
I
I'm
brought,
happy to hear that. That's wonderful news. And you know me very well, and I try to, accentuate the positive and try to look at the upside of things. It's not always the case. It's the hard things happen, and everybody's road is hard. We could be stinking rich billionaires, you and I, and the listeners. That doesn't mean it's all, cake and ice cream. It's like uh, there's hard roads for everybody, and to get out of a difficult situation is not easy, and that's why people need support. That's why I say, if you see somebody, help your neighbor, as best you can. Be good to your friends. Tell your friends you love them. Be there for them when you can. Maybe they'll be there for you when you need them. So I'm really happy to hear that for your sister. That's great. So they got a house by the lake, and she graduated with her. So if I need a place to stay wherever they are, I'm going to knock on the door and go, hey, remember 6 years?
Absolutely. Jackson, Michigan. Yeah. They're on a
Good.
362-acre lake. I know that she and Gordy will take you out. So, but
Congratulate her for me, would you please?
I will. Yeah, I took her to see you for the first time. I think it was 2015. And then in 2021, when I flew down to Detroit, she and Gordy and Gordy's her fiance, we went to see you at the Arc in Ann Arbor. And my brother, soon to be brother-in-law, I call him my brother right now, loves you. Absolutely loves you. I made sure to get them digital downloads when this came out. I sent it to them. I send them all your stuff.
Thanks.
He's like, when's Willie coming out with a new one? I'm like, so I went to see him July 5th to see their new house, and I brought them each a CD for their car. So.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Thank you for doing that.
So.
It's like it's spreading the music around. I mean, if people hear it, they go, "Hey, this doesn't suck." This is pretty good. And the live show is the same thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for spreading the word, and I hope they like the album.
And hopefully, for anybody who's listening who has never been to a Willie Nile show, it's a lot of fun and it's upbeat. It's not a show that's a drag. You may come in maybe in a down mood, but I guarantee you're not leaving in a down mood.
They're feel-good show. Thanks for saying that, Stacey. They're feel-good shows. Many times, like after shows, I'll come out to say hello to people. I'll sign CDs. I'll be friends I want to say hi to, and it's happened a lot of times. People will say, "Hey, a friend of mine's. I lost a parent. I lost a friend, or I haven't been out in a while. I went through a breakup or divorce, and I've been down." A friend said, "Go to Willie Nile. Go to a Willie Nile show. I guarantee you'll feel better." And people, sign CDs, or people have thanked me, saying, I feel better. Thanks so much. It's inspiring. And that makes me feel good. That means we're doing something right. It's the band is so strong. They're good guys. They don't phone it in. When anybody sees us play, they're not looking at a bunch of musicians, getting paid to play,
Yeah.
you know, to back somebody. We're all believing in music and have a great time doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're feel good shows. Anybody comes out, if you don't love it, I'll give you money back any day of the week.
Yep. And if any of the listeners want to see where Willie's playing next, go to www.willienile.com.
WILLIE.
Yep. And Nile like the river.
Yeah.
You had a fan club cruise to the Caribbean last December for 5 days, and I was lucky enough to go.
That was awesome.
You had quite a turnout, and I know I had a ton of fun, with the exception of me falling on my knee the last night. That was not graceful. I've had better moments, but
that was so much fun, Stacey.
Oh yeah. I met some new friends. Some of your people, you had people travel from England and Australia to go on this cruise, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And you're doing another one in June of 2026, but this time it's a 7-day cruise to Alaska, leaving out of Vancouver. How excited are you to do a second cruise like that? And do you think you'll do another Caribbean cruise as well?
The thing is, I'd never done a cruise. I know it's a whole different, it's a whole subculture, and I'd never done a cruise. And I was so busy, going into it, working on the album. I wasn't focused at all on the cruise. Mm-hmm. Literally 2 days before the cruise, I was just finishing the album. And next thing you know, I'm on a ship. This gigantic ship, and we're sailing out across the ocean, and I had so much fun. It was I had no idea what to expect. I was a little leery of it. It was so much fun. All the people that came, like it wasn't it was like a huge ship, but we had our own private group of people. The people that signed up for it could come and see us play. And you had to, and then we did a few shows. That was we had all had dinner together. My band is very sociable and amiable and friendly, and they love, we had so much fun. People were so nice. And as you could see, there's some really great people that are fans. There's so many, everybody was so nice. We had a great time. Everybody had a good time. And obviously we did good because now they want us to do another cruise. And this one is from Vancouver to Alaska. It's next June. It's a summer solstice cruise. And it's not far out to sea. And apparently, I've seen some video clips of they say it's the best cruise out there. There's pods and pods of orcas, all kinds of whales, eagles, maybe bears, elk, the cascading glaciers, and there's a bunch of stops. Like the one we just did to the Caribbean, there were 2 stops, and it was fine. It was nice, It was. It was just being at sea was so, for me, so. I just felt like I was in infinity, just floating through infinity. It was just so deep at night, leaning on the railing, looking up across the ocean, looking at the stars. For me, it was just, I had never experienced anything like that. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. And this particular cruise, there's land in sight a lot. There's in the stops, there's a bunch of them. There's like the really interesting stops, the best salmon you'll ever eat in the world, supposedly. They're just really interesting, intricate things. And they said people have been on it. I did a show the other night, and someone said that they did the Alaska cruise, and they said it was absolutely amazing. They saw bears on the shore, and a mother and bear and a cub, and from the boat, and yeah. I'm excited about it. It's next June. If people go to the website, willienile.com, there's, click on, there's information there about the cruise. If you look at upcoming shows, And I'm really excited about it because I want to see all. I've been to Alaska twice, and I loved it both times. And but this will be completely different. And it's in the summertime, summer solstice. There'll be some. We'll be seeing, I think, probably Aurora Borealis going on. Because we're up near Alaska,
Yeah.
and some northern lights, maybe a little bit of white night action going on. I mean, I'm excited.
That's
Orcas, really? I mean, whoa. Yeah.
yeah. So, lastly, at your shows, you almost always give your audience an update on your dad, who is a centenarian. And
There
you
it is.
shared some awesome news with fans just a few days ago. Would you like to tell us about your dad and that awesome milestone?
He's 107 years old, and I think 263 days, something like that. There's a site you can go, the oldest people in America. Like a month and a half ago, he was the 44th oldest man in the U.S.
Mhm.
And then 2 weeks later, he was the 43rd oldest man in the U.S. And then he was the 42nd. Well, now anyway, he's just the other day, he's the 38th oldest man in the U.S. So like and he lives at home. I mean, there's 107 and there's 107. I mean, aging it's not easy, but he lives at home, takes no medication, doesn't take naps, has a happy hour every day, does crossword puzzles 3, 4 hours a day, reads books, is engaging in his conversations, tells great stories. He's really funny. Like you've heard me tell.
Mhm.
People have heard me tell the story. Like I'll call him up, when I know he's having a happy hour. I'll go, "Hey, Dad, every day, do you have a glass of white wine, crackers and cheese?" Tell stories. When I was a boy, it's just priceless. And I'll call him up and I'll go, "Hey, Dad," because I live in New York and he's outside of Buffalo, in New York City, and I'll say, "How you doing, Dad?" He goes, "I'm great. I'm sitting here with your sister. We're getting boiled." You know. I don't think there's anybody in the United States that uses the word boiled. And he said, "Your sister's on her third glass of wine. I think I'm going to have to help her out of the chair." He's really funny. So there's 107 and there's 107. And he'll be 108 in November. But every day is a miracle. I'm grateful for every day that he's here.
Yeah.
I'm about to book a flight to go there in a week,
Awesome.
and hopefully he's still there when I get there. But he's a great man, a humble man. And we were really lucky to have him, dad, mom, his parents. I'll say that. There's eight of us. Eight of
Well,
us.
he raised a great son. So,
Thank you.
so I just want to thank you, Willie, for being on here and for taking some time out of your very busy schedule. I know that
Thanks for taking the time,
you've
Stacey.
been playing a lot. You'll be playing a lot. You've got some great stuff coming up, and I just again.
I appreciate all the kind words you've said, Stacey. Thank you for that, and I appreciate your friendship and your opinion of things. It's helpful to me to get your feedback, and I appreciate that. And thanks for taking the time to do this. I'm honored and happy to be on your podcast. And anybody listening, keep tuning in. Stacey's got a vision and a good spin on life on Earth. And if we're in your if we're playing in your neighborhood, come see us. And if you haven't heard the album, if you haven't, go to YouTube and just look up my name, Willie Nile. Well, we did a show in January. There's a Parkinson's charity that we do every year. We did the 25th year this year. I've done every one of them. A friend of mine got Parkinson's and started this Parkinson's Foundation. We've raised over $7 million for research for a cure for Parkinson's, ALS, and PSP. And Bruce Springsteen's been a part of about 13 or 14 of them, and every time he comes, he's been kind enough to play with me. And he played with us this past January. He joined us for my song One Guitar. If you go to YouTube and you type in Willie Nile and Bruce Springsteen, One Guitar, the clip will come up of this year's performance. It was great fun. Everybody had a blast. Great money got raised. And, like I always say, once they find a cure for Parkinson's, we'll have a big, big party. And the next day we'll find something, other disease to go after, and go after that one. So I'm trying to make in my own small way, things better, a better world in my own little way. So I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening, and keep tuning in to Stacey. She's got a good perspective on things. Bless your heart, Stacey.
Great. Thanks, Willie.